join me. Let's do some art. So today I will be working with these boxes or frames. They hold sayings which used to be rather popular, but now you can find these things very cheaply in any thrift store. Now they come in many different shapes and sizes, and I purposely collected the ones from the same maker. That way the thickness of the wood is all the same and it's very easy to stack them. And of course there are many different formations I could create. So this will be the start of another configuration box or box assemblage, whatever you want to call it. And to start with, of course, I will connect these boxes together, and I actually use hot glue just to save on my E6000, because I will also create some paper mache all around it to make them very secure. For that, I use old book pages and watered down school glue. So while I'm working on this, I just want to mention that I was trying to get this video to you on Friday, but I wasn't quite fast enough for that. So yes, today is not my usual posting days, but I think for this year, like I mentioned in my very first video of this year, I will not adhere to such a tight schedule. I will just post whenever I have something ready, and I'm sure you will enjoy it today just as well as you would have done on Friday. So I went ahead a bit on decoupaging the paper, as it's a bit repetitious and I like to cut all that stuff out. Now for my next step, I used some handyman speckle paste and a palette knife. After I apply just a thin layer, I use a pointy tool to scratch in a little design vaguely resembling a tree bark, of course for extra texture all along the side pieces. Now this paste, of course, had to dry quite thoroughly before I could go on. There were actually many times I had to wait for glue to set, but those things are also not included in this video. And again, I jumped ahead, and this is the way the edges look now. And it's time to work on the back. I just want to first of all give it a black edge and then do some more paper gluing, but that way the edges are already covered and you will see later it gives it a nice clean appearance. And next I used some painter's tape just to cover up the seams and a few extras here and there, and then some more paper collaging. Now I believe this is a good spot to turn you over to some music, as the next few steps will be very easy for you to follow. They are self-explanatory, and like always you will find all the mediums I will be using in the captions. But I will be back with you before I get started into all the doodads that I will use for this assemblage to explain a little more. here is my substrate or my configuration box, all done and ready for some interesting details. So let me show you some of the things I pulled out to be used in this project. There's a small wooden art doll here. I have also 2 wooden spools. I have a wooden box with a unique opening. I have an authentic, real chicken skull that a dear friend sent to me. I have a drawer handle and knob. I have 2 unique bottles. The bigger one is old vintage from a military hospital. I have a small glass that a spider built a nest inside. And I have this container from a pharmacy. I have a shark tooth. There are also some gears. There is a small airplane charm. Now, not all the pieces I show you here will make it in the final set. And I also will add some new pieces, but this is what I started with. Next, there are some metal numbers. There is a tiny compass and a tiny round game piece. There are some metal this and that. There's a spring, there is a hinge, there is another broken hinge. We have a big light bulb. I also have 2 smaller ones that actually have a hook on the top so I can hang them up. And then there are these connectors which are made from push buttons and just some wire, and I'll show you later how to do them. There is a key. There is a little clip I can put some paper in. I have a bulb from an old radio and a spark plug. There's an old metal lighter I found on one of my walks. And then I have a few bronze-colored items from the handyman drawers and also this little bronze-looking iron. This was probably a toy of some sorts which has been in my collection for a while. This thing I think has something to do with tire pressure. So next I have pieces of rust. I found them walking as well. Then I have a little hinge I may use, a little coin there. I have some of these decorative corners. And what else do we have? A tiny little crystal and some hardware, odds and ends, screws and hooks and you name it. And then a little frame. Now this is fairly new. I will probably alter it just enough to make it look a bit older. I will also alter the wooden items like the art doll and those little spools. I will also age the glass items a little bit, but otherwise I want to preserve all these items in their original state. They all look a little bit vintage, a little bit old, and they're just unique little pieces that I don't want to paint over. That of course means that from here on I basically just glue things down, attach things and try different configurations until I find the right fit. So I tried to capture all the different steps I took. I think I missed a few, but altogether you get a pretty good idea of my process and my progress. So enjoy some more music. The captions will still be there for you for any details you may need to know, and I will talk to you as soon as this thing is done. I believe I'm done. Sometimes it's hard to know when to stop, but here's my completed piece. Let's take another look. First of all, the sides. As you can see, it has nice texture, it has a nice color, and it goes all around. It's also quite smooth because of the sealer. The back is tidy with two metal hangers. And now to some of the details here in the front. So here on the top you have quite a few of those metal components. There is the iron, there is a little crystal that dangles and fits in the hole of that funny box. There are some black cabochons in the front, some numbers, mic connectors. There is a little dangle with a tarnished bell. I added a few more things to the bottle, including this tiny little metal funnel. Of course, the chain here on the bottom, the dangly keys on the sides, and then those decorative corners. I especially love the placement of the one on top and how it covers a little bit of his face. In the back, you see those dangling light bulbs, the picture, the art doll, and the old lighter that opens and closes. There is a clip that can hold a piece of paper. Now, the 5-cent sign was just the first thing I found. Anything could go in its place. Then there's a gear that turns, some of my connectors. And then, of course, the chicken skull, which is really special and I think has a great effect in this piece. And then we have the hinge that holds and moves the pocket watch up and down. This hinge moves just a little bit. More details, and then here on the bottom, some other interesting components, including the big spring and some of the glassware. And those marbles actually move about but can't fall out. So that was it for today. I hope you had a good time watching me put this together, and hopefully it gave you some ideas of how you could display those special little treasures you may have in your collection. I, of course, went for the rustic vintage look, for the mechanical look. That's why I screwed a lot of the things in. But this type of assemblage or display can work in any style you prefer. Thank you so very much for visiting with me today. I will be back as soon as my next project is done. Take care, stay creative. Bye bye for now.